This podcast is not a substitute for a relationship with your mental health professional. Hey, family. Welcome back to another episode of the Mental Health is a Lifestyle podcast with your girl, Andrea Wise Brown. And today, family, I have another amazing woman for you to meet. But before I introduce her to you, we need to take care of some business. So if you haven't done so already, come on, join the family if you aren't a part of us. And you can do that by clicking that little button so you can subscribe to the podcast. Then I need you to like the podcast. Then please come on, share the podcast. And if you feeling froggy, then jump and put a comment down under the podcast to let me know if you like it, if you don't like it, if you have some questions about whatever it is that we're talking about, or maybe some concerns. Talk to me. And don't be afraid to do so. Become a part of the family. All right, family, we are jumping right into it. So I have this amazing woman that I want you to meet today. So here I am going to introduce her to you. So today, family, we have with us Miss Amber Thomas. She's a registered nurse and an international board certified lactation consultant with over 15 years of experience supporting childbearing and breastfeeding families. Amber is a holistic perinatal women's health professional and the owner of Mother Eve's Childbearing Support Services, LLC. In addition to her lactation expertise, Amber is a certified doula, a Lamaze Childbirth Educator, and experienced birth assistant. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Biology with a minor in Women's Studies from Texas Women's University and a Bachelor of Science degree in Nursing from Baylor University's Louise Harrington School of Nursing. Wow, Amber. Hello, and thank you for being here.
Hello. Thanks, Andrea, for inviting me. I'm so excited to be here today, and thank you for that wonderful introduction.
Oh, absolutely. You deserve it. Those were all your accomplishments. Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing. Okay, so let's just jump right into it because I'm really what I'm assuming is some family members are like, why are we talking about birthing today and lactation and families? And let me say this. Let me start off with this. Family, you know, mental health is a lifestyle. So it is all surrounding and supporting a healthy lifestyle. When you have mental health, meaning a healthy mental, a healthy mind, then everything else in your life will fall in line and be healthy. And even if you are on the birthing journey of trying to add to your family, to have families, you know, there's a lot of stress and anxiety that you can endure with trying to expand your family and have children. So, and even after, after birth, because I know for me, Amber, I did suffer from postpartum depression after I had my daughter. So, this is necessary, family. And listen, and if you know someone who may be on their birthing journey or they want to expand their family, please share the podcast. So don't be judgmental. Just sit tight. Put your seatbelt on because you may learn something today. If you pay attention, then you will. Okay, Amber, so please share with us what started you on this birthing journey as a nurse.
Yes. So to be honest, I really think it is a God-given passion from my early teenage years up until now, I've just been infected with this passion. I remember at the age of 9, I filled out a career form at school that says, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I put a nurse. I didn't know anybody in my family at the time that was a nurse, but that's what I put on my form. I want to be a nurse because I want to help people. I didn't know what kind of nurse at that time. At the age of 15, my brother and his wife were pregnant with their first child. And I was just so intrigued with the pregnancy and the labor and the birth. I was 15 years old at the time. And I began to doula my sister-in-law before I even knew what a doula was. It was just a natural inclination. I was naturally drawn to her. We all lived together at the time of her pregnancy, and it was during summer when everybody was working, but I was off from school. So I pretty much catered to her during her pregnancy. She and I grew close. And when it was time for her to deliver, I just had this connection with her and the baby, and I wanted to be in the delivery room. But you know how they have that limitation in the delivery room with only 2 people, which was supposed to be my brother, her husband, and her mom. Well, I was really insistent. There was something in me that was just like, I've been working with this pregnancy and this baby and taking care of them. I want to see this birth. I want to see this baby born. And so I insisted on being in the room, and she insisted that I be in the room, and they allowed me to stay. And I was able to witness the birth of my niece. And it was just the most beautiful thing to me. I guess because I'm a little bit of a nerd, but for most 15-year-olds, they're probably will be like, I was like all up in there, like, oh my God, this is amazing. What's going on? So I was literally like in shock and just captivated by the birthing process. So I watched my niece exit from the womb. She was coming out sunny side up is what we call it when they're born face up. Normally they're born face down. But she was born face up, weighing 9 pounds 1 ounce, and I just took her in like I really kind of stole her from her mom. So I'm like her second mom. We were just attached at the hips and then. She's actually 23 years old now, pregnant with her first baby due this month on the 21st. So it's just full circle. But to answer your question, that is where the passion started. And things have just come along in my pathway since then that have drawn me in even more.
Wow, that is an amazing, amazing, amazing story. And I'll just say this. The only reason why is because I am like on this path of helping people to see the little miracles that happen in their lives so that they can more clearly define what their passion and their purpose is and how to get in alignment with what God has for them. Like, you couldn't make that up. The fact that this was something you wanted, and now all of a sudden this is happening in your household, and then you get a front seat. And then you were able to literally get a front seat. And you know what I've been told from many of men who are in the same position that you're in when they're in the birthing room, and when they literally see the baby enter into the world, a lot of them tell me that they're surprised, they're shocked, and they either faint or they feel like fainting. But you didn't, huh?
Not at all. I didn't faint at all. I was all in. I was intrigued, and I wanted more. So after that, everybody in my family, any friends or families that was pregnant, I was harassing them. Like, oh, can I help you? Can I be there for your birth? Can I help support you for your birth? This is at the age of 15, 16, 17 years old, just naturally inclined. So I wanted more and couldn't get enough.
Okay, so let me ask you, for all of our family members who don't know what a doula is, because I love the way you tied to it. I was a doula even before I was a doula, because for me, I was a therapist, a counselor, even before I was a therapist and a counselor. So tell us what a doula is.
So a doula is considered, so the formal term for doula means woman servant. That's the formal definition. But by trade, you can consider a doula as a labor coach or a birthing coach. You do not have to be a nurse to be a doula. In fact, a doula focuses more on the family's physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental well-being and support throughout the pregnancy, labor, and birth process. Your medical doctor, your OBGYN, or your midwife, they are more focused on your medical care for you and the baby. The doula's focus is on your experience of your pregnancy, labor, and birth, and bridging the gaps and providing mental, emotional, spiritual support throughout the process, because it is a very mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
Are you in Texas and are you tired of not being able to play blackjack, roulette, and even craps? Well, guess what? I got the solution for you. SpinQuest.com. That's SpinQuest.com. Has over 1,000 slots and table games you can play from the comfort of your own home, absolutely free, with the ability to win real cash prizes. Now get in your big diesel truck and go play SpinQuest today.
SpinQuest is a free-to-play social casino. Void where prohibited. Visit SpinQuest.com for more details.
Based here in Dallas, Parker University is a national leader in evidence-based healthcare built on innovation and student success. Known worldwide for chiropractic education, Parker also offers programs in human performance, business, public health, and more. With flexible online, hybrid, and on-campus options across every degree level, Parker makes it easy to learn your way. Cutting-edge technology, supportive student services, and a clear path to meaningful careers. That's Parker University. Ignite your passion and transform lives. Explore programs today at parker.edu.
Inclined process, which can be very exhausting, especially without the proper support. So a doula actually stays with their client throughout pregnancy, throughout the entire labor process, and also for postpartum care. And so they're providing that continuity of care, filling in the gaps, helping the families with their birth plan, their breastfeeding plan. How do you want the room to look like? Do you want dim lights? Do you want candles? Do you want aromatherapy? Do you want a lime green pillowcase at the hospital? Do you want a water birth? How do you want this experience to feel? How can I support you? I can show you some breathing techniques, some different positions to get in, some massage therapy, some ways to help you feel comfortable throughout your pregnancy and labor birth process. So we know that women have all these ailments that go on during pregnancy. We have the morning sickness and the nausea. So your doula is going to step in and say, hey, try some ginger water or try some papaya enzymes for that. Or they may have breakouts on their skin. So we provide natural, holistic solutions and remedies to some of these ailments, as well as natural and holistic remedies to the labor and birth process. So for example, if a woman is in labor and her labor has slowed down, medically at the hospital, they would want to induce her or give her a medication called Pitocin to speed labor up. As a doula, we could suggest, let's try using your breast pump to stimulate your natural oxytocin that may encourage labor to go. So we're able to provide some additional options that are more holistic, safe, with less side effects, to help a woman get through her pregnancy, labor, birth, and breastfeeding. Not only for the mom, but for the dad as well, because it's a long process and our dads need support as well. So, hey, can I get you a sandwich? Hey, do you want to take a nap while I sit with her and she and I are going to go for a walk and get labor going? You take a nap and let's tag team. Or when a question comes up in the labor room, hey, we want to break your water. Well, we kind of need to know, what are the benefits of that? What are the disadvantages of that? What's going to happen if we don't do it? So that's where the doula is filling in the education piece as well for the family as a whole.
So let me ask this question. This is good. This is so good. Okay. Because I could see where, for me, right, I had one child, and I could see where after, because I said that I did suffer from postpartum depression. So I could see where you would have been amazing. Like a doula would have been amazing for me afterwards to kind of help me to kind of calm down and to bring me back and give me some suggestions so that I knew that the world wasn't going to be over and I was good just the way I was. Mm-hmm. So that was before I started counseling or anything like that. So a doula would have been amazing. But yes. Let me ask you this. Okay. But prior to having the baby, I want to know, how are you educated? So do doulas have to take courses, classes? Because how is it, will you fill in the gaps? I will say this too, before you answer that. I could remember that you would have been helpful. Honestly, it just came to me before also, because I remember having this book that was called, and I think this was like everybody had these books, and it was called What to Expect When You're Expecting.
Wow. So us doulas, we're not a big fan of that book.
Oh, really? Okay, wait, hold on now. No, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with that book. That book was so helpful. It was helpful to me because it answered questions that I did not know, right? This was my first child. I had never done it before. And so, you know, and you get personal experience from your mama, from your aunties, you know, but everybody's body is different in their experience. And, you know, what our parents did back in the day, I was trying to do something different. Yeah. So the book was there. So, okay. So tell us about the book. Okay.
So I won't speak too much on the book, but what I'll say, you've kind of already said it. Everybody's different, right? So I think it can be served as a generic guide for someone, you know, first time expecting. But the benefit of having a doula is that you're going to have a customized, personalized experience where recommendations and educations are given to you based on you, based on your specific circumstances, because what may work for one person may not work for another. So the doula is trained to really assess and evaluate your circumstances to make recommendations specifically for you that are customized based on what your experience is. So to track back a little bit more on your question about that, as far as doula training, so I certified through an organization called DONA International. They've been around for the longest amount of time and have supported doulas for the longest amount of time. And so with that, there are certain education requirements that you have to have. One of them being a certain amount of hours in labor. So about 1,000 hours of hands-on support. So you have to have shadow maybe another doula or another nurse in the labor and delivery process to where you're able to have that birth experience, right? And so they're also training you with modules and education and hands-on training on what the labor process looks like, what the childbirth process is like, just the whole ordeal. And so it's kind of a self-paced process. It can take you 6 months to do it. It can take you 3 years to do it, but you have a set of requirements of how many births you need to attend and the different kind of births. A natural birth, an epidural birth, a C-section birth. You need to be able to attend a birth in a hospital, at a home, and at a birth center in the different environments for the birth. You need to have a mentor, someone that you can shadow, and then there's a certain amount of education hours that you have to complete as a doula. So you are pretty thoroughly trained to support women in labor as a doula. Then additionally, Childbirth Educator is a separate certification, which I completed through Lamaze, where I can, you know, when you're pregnant, you can actually go to the hospital and take childbirth classes. Well, these are outside childbirth classes where you actually, no one's just talking to you from a PowerPoint. It is hands-on. So when we're teaching breathing exercises, the families are actually doing the breathing exercises with us. When we're teaching massage techniques, we have the dads on the floor. We got our little yoga mats, our little birthing balls. Everybody's on the floor practicing what it's going to feel like to be in labor and what type of pressure they may like or don't like. And so it's a very hands-on, interactive process.
Wow. Oh, that's so good to know. I love that you say that doulas need to be certified, so they're just not sisters or cousins or aunties that's just out here and had their own experience, just telling you from their experience. No,
Yes.
you've learned some things, and
Yes.
you've witnessed, plenty of births. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So my next question, I'm just wondering, okay, so you have doctors and you are a nurse, so
Yes.
that kind of adds to your credentials, okay,
Yes.
as a doula. So now you're in the hospital. I'm just wondering, how is it that you work with doctors and the nurses who were there? Because I could see if they're feeling like, they've had all these years of schooling and practice, and they have those letters behind their name. So they're feeling like this is their birthing room. So now here you come in there, Miss Doula, and so I'm just wondering, how do you integrate with, the doctors and the nurses, and has that ever been a problem?
That is an awesome question. That's something that's really, really good to know because it comes up a lot. So a doula really has to know her place, right? And know what her role is in the labor room, in the hospital room, or wherever the family is giving birth. Because remember, we're here to provide an experience. And so we don't want to create conflict or tension in the room. So for me, I was actually a doula and a birth assistant and a Lamaze educator and a lactation consultant before I ever became a nurse. Those things actually led me into nursing. So as a doula, again, it's a non-medical approach. So when you're in the hospital room, it should be a collaborative effort. We are all on the same team and we have the same goal, which is to have a healthy baby and a healthy mama and a dad that's not passed out on the floor, right? So we're all on the same team, but we have different roles. And so what we do is during the prenatal care, sometimes I like to attend a prenatal visit with the client and her doctor and introduce myself as the doula, as a support person. And I introduce myself in the role of supporting the family and having the family's best interest in mind, but also letting the doctor or midwife know that there are some benefits to my presence, right? So normally when a woman goes into labor or she has a doula present, she can text her doula.
SpinQuest Social Casino. The presents are open and you're over the in-laws. It's a perfect time to grab your phone and play SpinQuest.com with live dealer blackjack, craps, and a ton of slots. And here's a great deal for the holiday, a $30 coin pack for $10. And if you're hearing this ad, you can play right now on SpinQuest.com.
SpinQuest is a free-to-play social casino. Void where prohibited. Visit SpinQuest.com for more details.
20-foot tree, 12-foot ceiling. Ta-da! Holiday magic. One wall outlet, 47 strings of lights. Ta-da! Holiday magic. Carolers who don't need auto-tune. Ta-da! Holiday magic. This year, add a little holiday magic of your own. Give holiday scratch tickets. With top prizes from $500 up to $250,000. Give the gift of infinite possibilities. Give holiday scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery.
Must be 18 or older. Play responsibly.
Hey girl, I got this random blood clot. What is this? You can't just really text your doctor like that, all throughout. You got to make an appointment, right? When she starts to feel contractions, let's say it's 10 o'clock at night, who can she call? She can call her doula to give her some guidance. Well, your contractions are really far apart. They're like 20 minutes apart. How strong are they? How long are they lasting? So you don't appear to really be in full-blown labor, but you're starting the process. So it's not necessary for you to go to the hospital right now. Whereas a first-time mom without a doula, she's calling her doctor, heading to the emergency room for no reason. And then she gets there and gets sent right back home, right? So we don't want to wake the doctor up at 3 o'clock in the morning for a false alarm, right? Because they need their rest so they can be ready when it's really go time. So your doctor and midwife are not with you throughout the entire labor process. So once you check into the hospital, you check in with your nurse. She gets you checked in, takes your vitals, all those things. Now, mind you, your nurse probably has 3 or 4 other patients, right? So she cannot stay with you the entire time. Meanwhile, your doctor or midwife is probably in clinic, right? Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, you have appointments. So who is with the laboring woman and family throughout that, 12-hour, 24-hour, 36-hour process? There's no one that's really there the entire time. The nurse checks in and out on the patient. How you doing? How's your blood pressure? Do you need an epidural? And this is me speaking as a labor and delivery nurse. Do you need some medication, checking in, right? But I have 4 other patients too, so I can't stay with you too long. Doctors in clinic being updated and notified by the nurse on the patient's progress, right? So essentially there's no other person literally staying there with the family. So the doula is actually there during that time that the nurse is checking on other patients, the doctor is in clinic, again, filling in those gaps, bridging the gaps. So can I get you some water? Can I get you some ice? Hey, let's change positions. We've been sitting like this for too long. Let's get things going. Let's get on your birth ball. What can I do for you? What can I do for dad? Let me put some more oils in the diffuser. Let me just make this environment calm. Let me read some affirmations or scriptures to you. We laugh, cry, pray, whatever you need. And so someone is with you, supporting you throughout the entire process in case something comes up, or we need to switch plans, or we need additional options. We have our eyes on you as things are changing, as progress is being made. So we can also actually provide that report to the nurse and to the doctor. Hey, I noticed, her blood pressure has been stable all this time, all this 12 hours, but now it's gone up a little bit. It's just something I noticed, if you want to take note of that. Or I noticed that whenever she has a contraction, this happens. So the eyes are there all the time. And so it can be a positive experience if the doula knows her role and plays her cards right. I have learned how to do that. And so now I actually have doctors and midwives who refer their clients to me for doula support because they appreciate the bridging of the gaps and them not being responsible for every little thing because they have multiple patients. So for us, we usually only take 3 clients a month per doula so that there's not a whole lot of overlapping and that we can delegate our full time and attention to their needs.
Oh, that is so good. I love that. All I was thinking the entire time when you were talking, I was hearing you, but I was thinking about, yes, like how much you being there and being in support could really release a lot of the mom's anxiety, right?
100%. Mm-hmm.
Yes, so they could feel more calm, more stable, like they're not alone, and that they do have another professional because you are trained in there with them, right? You are their person. I love that. That is so good.
I'll say this, the doula has no other agenda but to serve you, right? So you're literally hiring someone to be there for you with no other agenda, no other liability concerns, no other concerns. My job is to support you for the entire time. So your doctors and nurses don't always have that luxury because they do have other liabilities and things that they're responsible for, as well as other patients. But your doula is just there for you.
I love it.
Absolute best interest in mind.
I love it. So here, let me ask you this. So we're talking about being in a hospital, being in a facility. So what I want to know is, have you been a doula to someone who's had a home birth? And if so, what's the difference for you?
Great question. So I have supported families in hospitals, birthing centers, and at home, all across the board with doctors, midwives, all varieties and all options. So the difference is If a client is having a home birth or a birth center birth, they are going to be supported by a midwife, 100%, right? And a midwife is a provider that can provide care for the entire pregnancy, labor, and birth. So the midwife replaces the doctor, the OBGYN. Midwives are for healthy, uncomplicated pregnancies. So if you have a high-risk pregnancy, you may not be a great candidate for a midwife, but a relatively uncomplicated pregnancy, you can deliver with a midwife. And so midwives are set up for a more natural, low intervention type of birth. So in that case, epidurals are not available. Pain medication is available, though. They can provide pain medication through your IV. However, they don't perform epidurals or surgeries, right? Should that be needed, you would have to be transferred to the hospital. So the difference is that we're set up like that. And so there's naturally not a lot of interventions, not a lot of things going on. And the midwives are more present with you throughout the process in a home birth or birth center setting. So the doula's role does shift a little bit in that she's still present, but it's actually a lot smoother and a lot easier for the doula in a home birth or birth center setting because it is an extremely collaborative approach. You have two holistic providers working together versus a medical provider and a holistic provider working together. So we're literally on the same page.
Got you. And I love that. So, well, since you said that, we'll go a little bit deeper because you did mention before that the doula has a holistic approach. And so, just to be clear, what is the difference between the holistic approach and the medical model?
Yes. So, for the holistic approach, it's just letting your body do what it's naturally designed to do without intervention, unless intervention is medically emergency necessary. The medical approach is more of a sick model approach. You know, you walk into the hospital, you put on a hospital gown, you get your blood pressure check, your temperature check, you do a vaginal exam. There's all these touch points. At a birth center, they may not do a vaginal exam right away. We can kind of tell based on how the person is progressing where they are in their labor process. You can walk around, you can eat, you can drink. At the hospital, you're not supposed to eat, right? You're not supposed to drink anything because there's the risk of potential anesthesia or surgery, right? Right. That's not really an option at the birth center. So you can get up and walk around. It's like a day in a life where you have a baby. You go on about your natural life and you walk around, you eat, you talk to family members, you have a few contractions, you got some support, and you have a baby and go home.
Okay, wait, hold on. Wait. Because having a baby, well, I can speak for me because I was only with me in the birthing room. That was it. I ain't never been with somebody else. I've gone to the hospital, but I haven't been in the room. And sometimes there can be some complications because there were with me at the last minute. I had an emergency C-section at the last minute. So everything was going well, and then all of a sudden, something went left and I had an emergency C-section. Now, I love the idea of what you're saying. And I love it when I hear stories about women who say, I had my baby in the bathroom. I think Tiana Taylor said, like, all of her children, she said she just had them at home, when people have babies in the car. And I love, honestly, Amber, when you just said, like, oh, it's just like having a baby and walking through and that's, But sometimes, right, life's not like that. So, in the room, I'm just talking about me, and I know there are other women like me, where, first of all, I was in labor for 18 hours, and I took the epidural, which I didn't get it until 14 hours later, but it was killing me. So, I'm just saying, all that just walking around and having, that wasn't happening for me. So, what would you say to us who want to do the holistic approach,
Yes.
but had a hard time?
I love this. I love this question because I have an answer for you. Everything is connected, right? Everything is connected, and there is a domino effect from the beginning to the end, right? So, number one, what's the status of your pregnancy? And what is your medical history? Do you have a history of diabetes or high blood pressure? Those are medical issues that can affect pregnancy, labor, and birth. In that case, you might be better off with hospital support and you may require intervention. If you are medically healthy, 88% of women can deliver outside of the hospital without medical intervention. If you're medically healthy, you don't have any risk factors, we don't anticipate that you're really going to need intervention, although it could happen. So number one, what's the status of your health and your pregnancy? Okay. Number two, interventions sometimes have a domino effect. So if you go in for an induction and number one, you didn't start off natural from the beginning. If you go in to be induced, meaning forcing labor to happen before your body is ready, you are automatically set up for possible intervention and emergencies. 60% of inductions end in C-section because we're given a medication to force our body to do something that it's not ready to do for whatever reason. Sometimes there are medical reasons, sometimes there are non-medical reasons. So, domino effect. I get an induction. The contractions from the inductions are so painful and so intense that I can't handle the pain because this is not a natural pain. This is a medicated pain that I'm experiencing. On top of that, my baby's heart rate is dropping because my contraction is so strong, it's squeezing my baby in an artificial way that my baby can't handle this artificial contraction. So my baby's heart rate is dropping. My pain level is increasing. I now need an epidural to cope. So we have Pitocin, which induces us and speeds things up. Then we put an epidural on board, which slows things down. So you got two medications fighting each other, right? One is trying to progress your labor. The other one's trying to slow things down. So 60% of the time, what happens is you fail to progress and end up with a C-section because you get stuck at 4 centimeters, 6 centimeters, 8 centimeters. So then to combat that, let's try to break your water. Well, we broke your water and took away the baby's cushion. So now the baby's heart rate is dropping and now we need an emergency C-section. There's this domino effect of interventions. When a woman goes into labor naturally, that means her body has released a hormone that says, my baby's lung and brain development are complete and I'm now ready to be born. And so naturally you start having contractions and there are natural things you can do to facilitate those contractions. But if there's no medication on board to influence that process, no Pitocin, no epidural, you're just going to naturally, your body's going to do what it's naturally designed to do. And then you have the support of your doula and the midwife to help facilitate that process, but not intervene on the process. So moms who labor naturally and birth naturally need less intervention. There's less emergency situations. So you shared your story. I want to share mine real quick. I started having contractions at midnight. And they were coming back to back to back. I had taken childbirth classes. I was with a midwife and I was at a birthing center. And I knew I had two doulas. I had my doula and then my doula's best friend was in training. And she asked if she could attend my birth for her hours. I said, sure, the more the merrier. So I was able to contact my doula, let her know what's going on. She was like, Amber, you're progressing really fast. Let's go ahead and call the midwife. I called the midwife. She said, yeah, Amber, you're progressing really fast. Just go ahead and meet me at the birth center. So that was at midnight. I got to the birth center, labored, walked around. I had a birth photographer there, two doulas, my mom, my grandmother, everybody in the room that wanted to be in the room, that I wanted in the room. I got in the bathtub. I drank water. I ate snacks. My husband was able to get in the bathtub with me from behind and hold me and support me.
SpinQuest Social Casino. The presents are open and you're over the in-laws. It's a perfect time to grab your phone and play SpinQuest.com with live dealer blackjack, craps, and a ton of slots. And here's a great deal for the holiday, a $30 coin pack for $10. And if you're hearing this ad, you can play right now on SpinQuest.com.
SpinQuest is a free-to-play social casino. Void where prohibited. Visit SpinQuest.com for more details.
All the lights worked the first time. Ta-da! Holiday magic. You managed to stay in pajamas the entire day. Ta-da! Holiday magic. Your kid didn't get a drum set. Ta-da! Holiday magic. This year, add a little holiday magic of your own. Give holiday scratch tickets with top prizes from $500 up to $250,000. Give the gift of infinite possibilities. Give holiday scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery.
Must be 18 or older. Play responsibly.
I had to get out of the tub and have my baby. She was born at 3:06 a.m. I didn't ask for pain medication. I was in pain, but I never asked for it, never needed it. She was big, so she was a little snug, so they had to do a maneuver to actually get her out. But the midwives are trained and equipped for some minor emergencies. Only thing they can't do is the anesthesia and the surgery. In that case, they have to transfer you. But bleeding too much or, other things like that, they can handle. Oxygen, things like that. So my baby they had to do a maneuver to get her out. She was 9 pounds, 1 ounce. Big girl, born vaginally. I had a tear. I had to have 2 stitches. That's it. They were able to do that at the birth center. They helped me latch her on. We breastfed. I ate. I was home at 6:23 a.m. I had family members at the hospital looking for the room number. What room number are you in? I'm at 1914 Cyrus Way at home. So from midnight to 6:23 a.m. Midnight, she was born at 3:06. I was home at 6:23 a.m. The midwives came over the next day to check my bleeding, check on her, make sure everything was okay. Everything was good. I had a healthy pregnancy, a natural birth, no interventions, but things that were needed were provided.
I love it. Mm-hmm. Listen, I love that, and I love your story. I love that this is an option for women, because that's what it's really about, is women having the option to choose how they want to deliver their babies. I will say this, though. For me, healthy, no issues, no diabetes, no nothing, and no I was not induced or anything. Mm-hmm. I'm just telling you, that's my truth, right? Mm-hmm. So I just know that what happened was my water broke, just natural. And I love the way you say that. You go, when it's a natural, when you labor naturally and your water breaks, that means that the baby's fully developed. All those things. I go to the hospital, but I was there too long. And you know what? And this was me naturally. Mm-hmm. I didn't dilate. So she was in me for too long, and there was no water in the sac. And so I only dilated 1 centimeter. So anywho, I'm just telling you, 18 hours later, they had to take my baby. And I thank God that they did. But this is the point. I love that there are options, because there are many women who can have, and you said 80%, 82%. So it just so happened that I was with the 18%. You know what I'm saying? I was just in the 18%, a healthy woman, healthy process, but then it just happened, and that's okay because she's here. But I wanted to add this before I ask you about your services, because you sound freaking amazing, and what you do sounds freaking amazing, and you know your stuff, and I love that. But let's just say, if there is an intervention that needed to happen, worst case scenario, and you were there, because your birthing story sounded amazing. I mean, you in the tub, your husband behind you, like, I swear, everybody's there like that. You know what I'm saying? Was a storybook, story, right? Fairy tale. However, but it was real. So what would have happened? How is it that you guys can link people, or how are they linked to support if they need medical intervention? What does that look like?
Yes. So birthing centers and home birth midwives, like I said, they do have certain equipment and skills and tools to help with some interventions. They can break your water if needed. They can provide pain medication if needed. They can provide oxygen if needed. They can help with blood loss if needed. But if things just get out of control and for some reason you've been in labor for too long and you need an epidural or you need a C-section, they will transfer you to the hospital. So home birth midwives and birthing centers are backed by OBGYN physicians and partnered and connected with local hospitals so they can transfer you. Your midwife will transfer you. An ambulance will be called. You will be transported to the hospital. Your midwife and your doula will go with you to continue that support. Your doula and midwife stay with you, but you are now in the care of the hospital and an OBGYN who can call an anesthesiologist for an epidural or a spinal if needed, and then also perform the surgery if needed. And that's exactly how it should be. OBGYNs are surgeons by trade, and they are trained to fix problems, and we need them because, like you said, there are problems that can occur. So I don't want to negate that. But if you have a relatively healthy pregnancy, I would encourage you to try for a natural or low intervention birth. And if you need further assistance is available. And that is, we want to intervene when it's necessary. We don't want to have routine intervention. Check in, get your Pitocin, get your water broken, get your epidural, get your C-section. That's the trend of how most women are delivering nowadays. And the reason why this is such a passion for me is because, as you may know, or some of you may be aware of, for women of color, our moms and babies die at a rate of 3.5 times more than any other race. Okay, so just want to let that sink in a little bit. There's a reason behind that. This type of care and support prevents and reduces those maternal and infant outcomes.
I love it. I love what you're saying. I'm telling you, I love women having options and the fact that, which sounds so good, like you can literally start off at a birthing center or start off at home having being prepared to, to have your baby there. And if you're a little nervous and something goes left, just if it does, then there is a connection to medical intervention, which I love. And I'm sure all of that is in the birthing plan.
Yes, absolutely.
So please tell the family how they can get in touch with you, Amber, and get your services.
Yes. Before I do that, I want to give one last little some tips and just a little bit of information. So when a doula is present, just the presence of a doula decreases interventions by 60%. When a doula is present, that sends a message that this family is prepared, this family is supported, this family is advocated for. So let me be careful how I handle this family. Okay, that's number one. Number two, doulas decrease the incidence of prenatal and postpartum anxiety and depression. So I just want to tie that back in. The experience of having a doula decreases anxiety and depression and enhances mental health because you are fully supported emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And so most women feel empowered. They feel like they were a part of the decision-making process, that they played a role in their care and not just, okay, I'm going to do what my doctor says to do, or I'm just kind of going to go along with whatever is being told to me. So there's a sense of empowerment there, a sense of well-being. The recovery for women who have a doula is better. They're able to return to work sooner, care for the baby sooner, things like that. So I just wanted to add that in there. And then I can be contacted. We do have a website, www.mothereves, MotherEvesCSS.com, which stands for Mother Eve's Childbearing Support Services. We have our Instagram at Mother Eve's CSS, and then we also have a Facebook page for Mother Eve's Childbearing Support Services.
Thank you so much, Amber, for sharing your expertise here with us and for educating us on doulas, midwives, an alternative birthing process